Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos and on this video tonight I am going to be giving you my match reaction for the Wolves Manchester United game that has just ended. Wolverhampton 0, Manchester United 0 at Molineux in the FA Cup third round. So reflecting on the goalless draw, it does go to a replay at Old Trafford. Of course, we have not yet won in 2020. We are two games so far into 2020. We lost 2-0 to Arsenal recently, and of course, we have drawn this evening 0-0 with Wolves. So Solsjaker is still yet to be Wolves as a manager. So now that means Wolves are unbeaten in their last 5 games against us, including today's game. So like I said on my preview, Molineux has been a fortress for us in recent years. So Solskjaer went with the 4-2-3-1 formation. Obviously, he did make quite a few changes. Obviously, from the 2-0 defeat to Arsenal. So we saw Sergio Romero in goal. Solskjaer did confirm prior to the game that he would have been starting. Obviously, Ashley Young was at right back. Aaron Maguire and Lindelof were at centre back. Brandon Williams, of course, was at left back, but like I initially said, Williams should have actually started in the game against Arsenal. He went with Matic and Pereira in that midfield. He went the three attackers. He went with Daniel James on the left, Juan Mata in number 10. Chong on the right and Mason Greenwood, of course, up top in that number 9 role. Obviously, we know that Martial usually operates there, but obviously, Martial is out with illness. So too, Jesse Lingard is out with illness and that. They did actually train, was it yesterday? But they'd been sent home with a sickness bug. So yeah, so that's the lineup Solskjaer went with. But I'm now going to give you my overarching view on the game. Another dreadful performance from Manchester United. I actually thought overall it was a dull game. I thought Man United were bad. Also, Wolves actually were really, really bad. We didn't create anything at all in the game. I've just watched some of the highlights. We didn't even register one single shot on target. And now, you have got a lot of Manchester United fans demanding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out of the football club. But I've got to say, I thought Matic and Pereira were poor. I also thought Daniel James was very, very quiet this evening, because I said, he's been a revelation, since we got him in last summer. But I think his last couple of games, including tonight, I think he's been very, very quiet. I thought Chong was also, very, very poor. These question marks, why, Angel Gomez, isn't getting into the team. When is Solskjaer going to be convinced, to give Angel Gomez the opportunity? Because I don't really rate Chon, to be quite honest with you. I have got element of concerns about him. I don't think Greenwood was too good tonight, but there again, he wasn't really getting enough service in. He wasn't really getting enough service, because I think Mason Greenwood has actually been fantastic for us this season. Like I said, I think he scored like 8 senior goals for us so far this season as Mason Greenwood. So he's been very, very good. And reflecting on how good Mason Greenwood's been, Solskjaer doesn't really have a lot of concerns regarding our attacking options, But we've definitely got to strengthen up in that attacking line. I thought the vast majority of them were poor tonight. We obviously dominated the possession, because we actually had a lot of the possession, but again, we didn't really do well with it. For me, Solskjaer doesn't have a plan B. Our style of play seems to be counter-attacking football under the Solskjaer era. And he's tactically naive, and like I said, he's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. Obviously, he brought some substitutions on in the second half. We saw Rashford come on, Fred came on, and Diego Dalot came on. Diego Dalot, that's his first start in a while, because don't forget, Diego Dalot has sustained quite a few injuries so far this season and that. But there's just nothing. There's no cohesion in the team. To me, the structure of the team doesn't seem seem to be right in that. And I think, definitely, more signings are needed at Manchester United. I think, this year we've got to get around at least 4 to 5 signings, maybe even more, if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. And of course, if we are to be up there challenging for major honours and that. Because, we are nowhere near on that level, as we should be in, and we've got to emulate to that level. But I think it's going to take us quite a long time, to get us to that level where we do want to be in that. But like I said, basically our squad is not good enough. And like I said to you, the players that I think, need to leave Manchester United, I think, the club need to move Ashley Young on, because he's a liability. He's been a liability for several years. He's initially lost his place in the team anywhere, but like in the cup games and the Europa League, maybe Young will get his opportunities, because since the arrival of Wan-Bissaka, he's been established as our first choice right back. I think this was Young's 261st, or was it 262nd appearance this evening for the football club. He comes to an end of his current contract at the end of the season, but I think we've definitely got to move him on. He's aging up now anyway. He's 34 and he's nearly 35, and he's past his sell-by date as Ashley Young. You've got a lot of Manchester United fans that are demanding Andres Pereira out. I don't think he's good enough to represent the football club, and this evening, did prove that. I think he had some wasteful opportunities. We did have some wasteful opportunities in the game, but like I said, we didn't register one single shot on target. Andres Pereira, whether he's playing in number 10, whether he's playing on the right, or whether he's playing as a box-to-box midfielder, I think either way he's really, really inconsistent in that. So if we did get rid of him, that would be beneficial. Luke Shaw, like I said, a lot of United fans are demanding him out. Luke Shaw was good last season because, he actually won the double player of the season. That he didn't play this evening, but got to say he was very, very poor against Arsenal. We paid, was it around £30 million for Luke Shaw from Southampton, And, analysing the vast majority of his career with Man United, I think he's done well. He's also sustained quite a few injuries in that, so you can say he's injury prone. But I think this season he just hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect from him. You've got a lot of Man United fans demanding Marcus Rojo out at the football club. Because he's also injury prone. He sustained quite a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player, Marcus Rojo, and he's obviously out with injury at the moment. I think he's close to returning, but his appearances are limited in the Premier League anyway. Just basically like Phil Jones's are, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice centre-backs are Lindelof and Harry Maguire. But like I'm saying, Rojo's got under 2 years left in his contract. He should have left last summer, Rojo, because don't forget there was a few clubs in for him. Everton were in for him, but we've got to get rid of him. Phil Jones, I think, he also needs to be moved on. Jones is now into his 9th season at the football club. He's been here more or less the same amount of time as Ashley Young. And we give Jones a new long-term contract last season. But again, I think he's a liability. Matic is too inconsistent. He doesn't complement our midfield whatsoever. He's too slow. He's too slow, he's Nemanja Matic. He's too easily predictable. And of course, he's aging up. I think he's around 31 years of age now, or he's Matic, or is he 32, Nemanja Matic. But again, we overpaid for him. We paid around £40 million for him from Chelsea. So for me, he's another player that does need to be moved on, and that, And like I've said on my recent videos anyway, I think we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. We need to get rid of players. We need a change of management immediately, because Solsjaker, hasn't got the stature to get us in that commanding position, where we do want to be. He hasn't got any intuition on how to manage, especially, a big football club like Manchester United. We've got to get rid of the Glazers. We've got to get rid of the coaching staff. We've also got to get rid of Ed Woodward. But I think, the vast majority of our blame does stem from the board. because our board have been not only being a liability recently, they've been a liability for several years. So we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. Solskjaer is to blame as well. You know, not all the blame, you know, does stem from him. You know, like I said, you know, everyone else needs to take responsibility for our inconsistency in that. But, you know, some of the blame does stem from him. Like I said, his team selection's wrong. You know, they've been wrong for the vast majority of our games this season. Some of his substitutions have been questionable. And I just think, from my own perception, you know, the expectations are too high for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United. But you know, we've got to get him out of the football club, and I think he's aware that he's under pressure now at this present time. He's obviously not been aware for the vast majority of vast majority of this campaign up to now that he has been under intense pressure at the football club. Like I said, we know Molineux is a very, very difficult place to go to. Like I said on my preview prior to the game, you know, Wolves' record against the top six sides is absolutely phenomenal. You know, Wolves are now winless in their last three games, including today, because before this game, you know, Wolves had lost to Watford 2-1. They'd also lost at Anfield to Liverpool 1-0. But, you know, like I said, you know, Solskjaer even admitted, and that's one thing I do credit Solskjaer for. He's got a lot of honesty about him. You know, he doesn't lie. He's got a lot of honesty about him. You know, he praised Wolves in his press conference. You know, he said Wolves are a really, really good team. They've got a lot of good players. You know, they've got a good manager in Nuno Santo. His philosophy, you know, is really, really good. And you know, Wolves, progressed to the FA Cup semi-final last season for the first time in 21 years. They also, you know, finished 7th in the Premier League, you know, last season. So to their standards, that's very, very good. And they got automatic qualification for the Europa League, sorry. And obviously, you know, they have progressed into the knockout stages of the Europa League of Wolves. You know, I'm very sceptical, you know, that they will win it, but they've still done really, really well to get to the knockout stages. But I should presume that we should win the replay at Old Trafford, but you just never know. But there again, Wolves beat Man City in the league earlier on this season. It was most recently, you know, there was 2 goals down in that game. So Wolves actually now seem to be our bogey team. But like I said, you know, we've got 3 ambitions this season, and the FA Cup, you know, isn't really an ambition for Man United. And I think I did say it would be good for us to enjoy a good cup run or even better, win the FA Cup. But I'm very sceptical, you know, that's going to happen. But we enjoyed a good cup run last season, obviously, until we lost to Wolves last season in the quarter-final. You know, we beat Reading in the 3rd round when Chon obviously, you know, made his debut. Wasn't the best performance, but still got the win. Then we put a fantastic performance out away at Arsenal, winning 3-1. And then obviously, you know, we beat Chelsea in the quarter-final by 2 goals to 0. So, like I said, our 3 ambitions is that top 4, because the league is definitely, you know, a priority for us. You know, we've got to get that top 4 this season so we can get Champions League football secured. I'm very sceptical that we're going to get it the way we're playing at the moment. You know, we are obviously, you know, 5 points behind Chelsea. But I don't see us getting it the way we're playing. And Solskjaer recently admitted that the club have got to find that consistency. You know, I think the only chance we've probably got of winning any silverware this season is, you know, the Carabao Cup. And I don't see us beating Man City, you know, the way we're playing. And, you know, there's a possible chance, you know, where we could win the Europa League. And that's another route to Champions League football for Man United. Obviously, rested players this evening, Solskjaer anywhere, because like I said, he knows Man City is on the horizon, and Man City is going to be a very, very big game. City are into the 4th round of the Cup. You know, they beat, I think, Port Vale, was it 4-1? So yeah, they're into the 4th round of the competition and that. But like I've said to you on my recent videos, for the vast majority of this season, I've been saying it to you. You know, we've done really, really well against elite opposition this season. You know, but we just haven't really replicated that against, you know, average or lower opposition. And that seems to be also my element of concern, you know. But we should be performing much better, you know, reflecting on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club over the years, you know, since the Alex Ferguson era. A lot of money's been invested into the football club. I think we've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in, you know, and that's disregarding what was spent under Ferguson. You know, we've not only spent a lot of money on players, also now we have got players on big contracts at the football club. So take that into account. But it just proves always spending big on players and getting them Glasgow players doesn't always, guarantee you success in that. You know, a lot of money's been invested into the football club, and I know that we've been a toxic football club for the last 6 or 7 years. There's a lot of main factor reasons why we have been. That probably reflects on the amount of mistakes we've made in the last 6 or 7 years. You know, probably recruiting the wrong players in, obviously, recommending the wrong managers in, etc., etc., and that. You know, but I don't like the way the football club has been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years and that. But for me, Solskjaer is just not the long-term solution for Manchester United, I'm afraid. And I still believe he will stay here this month. I still probably believe he will still be here at the end of this season, because the club in general are determined, to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They're going to see who he can recommend in this month. They're going to see who of course, he can bring into the football club in the summer. Because, Solskjaer's only had, one transfer window at the moment, and that was last summer. We spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. And like I said, they've all enjoyed good starts to the careers with Man United. Daniel James has been off the boil, like I said, this evening, and he was poor in the Arsenal game. He hasn't, been too good as Daniel James and that. But prior to that, I think he's done really, really well. He's done really, really well. But, this year we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. We've got to get two midfielders in my opinion. We've got to reinvest in that midfield because, we look very exposed in that midfield, following, the injuries to Paul Pogba and McTominay, where, they're two big misses for us. And, there's the only midfielders we can rely on at this present time is Fred, Matic, Pereira. And you can definitely say, Matic and Pereira are two liabilities. With Fred, I've got like a few different perceptions on him. He can play well, Fred, as he has proven at Man United, but he can also, be very, very poor. From my own perception, Fred is still not really replicating, at Man United what he produced there with Shakhtar Donetsk. Because I've got to say, he was actually, an exceptional player for Shakhtar Donetsk and that. And I think, he did very, very well when he was playing alongside McTominay. He's played alongside McTominay in quite a lot of games this season, due to the absence of Paul Pogba and all that. And I think they've blended in really, really well. But Fred seems to perform differently, if he's not playing alongside, the right midfielder. Like a prime example, Fred doesn't seem to really play well when he's playing alongside Matic, for an example, and that, was proven in the 2-0 defeat to Arsenal. But I would still give, Fred more time at the football club. I was reading recent reports as well regarding Fosu Mensah. Reportedly he's in line for the midfield role. Because Fosu Mensah is closer to returning from injury. He's been out of an injury since he was on loan with Fulham last season. Obviously, Eric Bay's been out over an injury since pre-season. He's been out over an injury and that, but he's closer to returning. But like I said, anyway, Eric Bay, he's very injury prone. So it's good that players are coming back from injury, but more players are now getting injured again, which is very infuriating because overall this season anyway, we have had a lot of injuries, so take that into account and that. But like I said, one thing I credit Solskjaer for is that, he's given the young players their opportunities this season, and he did initially confirm at the start of this season that, the young upcoming players would get given their chance in that. And I think, a lot of the young upcoming players will become a success at the club. I think, like I said, we need to consider getting rid of some of the young players in that, because I've got element of concerns regarding some of them. But I think Solskjaer's had long enough now, in my opinion. He hasn't been here very, very long. He's been here now over a year. He's now been permanent manager for almost 10 months, and obviously, obviously it seems to have all gone wrong since he's got the job permanently and that. And, Solskjaer did say that he says 2020 will be a successful year for Man United. He's still aware that he's got many expectations to exceed. But we could have changed our worse a year this year now than what we, enjoyed last year. And, the vast majority of last year was bad enough. And my perceptions were different regarding Solskjaer, when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period. Because he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. The results were good. The performances were good. He exceeded expectations in that. And, we had a lot of, Solskjaer won his first 8 games. We won 10 games out of 13 in the Premier League. We won 14 out of 19 in total in all competitions. And that obviously then was enough to give Mulligan and Solskjaer the job and that. But I honestly do believe, reflects on the league, we could be saying at the end of this season that we've enjoyed our lowest ever finished in the Premier League era. I think this is lowest we've been now in the Premier League era at this stage ever. But we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for around 30 years and that. But Solskjaer will never emulate into Ferguson. He'll never invoke Ferguson's legacy, to save him at the football club. But there again, no matter what manager we're recommending, I don't think, we'll ever replicate, what we did under Alex Ferguson. But take into account, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at Manchester United when we recommended him in from Aberdeen back in 1984. But obviously, back in the old generation, the boards were nowhere near as ruthless to the extent as they are now. Obviously, in this generation, managers don't get the time that they would like. But look what Ferguson went and accomplished after that 4 years. It was absolutely magnificent what he accomplished. And not too long ago, he came on when he was speaking about his legacy, was Alex Ferguson and all that. And but we'll never be the team that we was under him, But there's still players here from the Ferguson era. There's Young still here, there's De Gea here, there's, Jones still here. I think there's only about 2 or 3, 4 players still here from the Ferguson era. There's Matt here from the David Moyes era. He still plays. I think he's been very consistent for Man United, but obviously he doesn't really play that much now because he has lost that yard of pace. We've still got players here from the Van Gaal era. There's still players here from the Jose Mourinho era. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's because he recommended 11 players in, don't forget, and spent around, £400 million, was it, or just under 400 million? So take into account now, Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them. But like I said, even though we've been a toxic football club for the last 6 or 7 years, we are still the best team in England historically, reflecting on the amount of titles and that we've won and all the trophies we've won in general. And we are still one of the biggest clubs in the world and that. But like I said, Old Trafford is no longer a fortress. Even though we've only lost there once so far in the league this season, I think it's only once we've lost there, and that was at home to Crystal Palace. The fear factor's not there, the winning mentality is not there. So, like I said, you've got now a lot of Manchester United fans that are demanding Mauricio Pochettino in. We've got to get Pochettino into the football club now, and overall, anyway, we've been long admirers of Mauricio Pochettino. We've been long admirers of him. Don't forget, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December 2018, we went in for Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, at that time, we'd have had to have paid something in compensation to recommend him in. I think is this me estimating, or did it actually say we'd have to pay around £32 million in compensation to get him in? But we didn't decide to get him in because obviously, we decided to recommend Solskjaer in. And the couple of reasons our preference was Solskjaer is because Solskjaer was a cheaper solution. Plus, Solskjaer did well on an interim basis in that 3-month period, so we decided to keep him on. But now, obviously, Pochettino hasn't got a job. He's managerless because he was sacked by Tottenham the other month. But I think, from my perception, Mauricio Pochettino is totally comparison to Solskjaer. I think he's a much better manager. He's got that managerial experience. He's well proven in the Premier League. He hasn't won out in terms of silverware, but that is an element of concern. But he enjoyed a good 5.5 years with Tottenham. Tottenham were mainly competing in and out of the top four for the vast majority of Pochettino's managerial career with them. But then in the last couple of years, Tottenham started, to be title contenders in that, because they came close on a few occasions to winning it. Don't forget, they got to the Champions League final last season. That was actually, Tottenham's first ever Champions League final. But Pochettino so far has managed 3 clubs. 2 of them clubs have been Premier League. Tottenham, 5.5 years. He enjoyed a short tenure with Southampton, and before that, of course, he was at Espanyol. And don't forget, there was reports emerging out a while back saying that Pochettino actually revealed that he actually wants to come to Manchester United. He wants to manage the club and that. But I think his philosophy is good. He's good at developing young players. And if Pochettino was to come in, he would be our 5th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. So if Solskjaer does get sacked, then I think Pochettino will be our next manager, providing that he doesn't get another job, because, there's been speculation before about him going to Munich. There was also talks about him going to Real Madrid. But I think, we definitely no need to get him in and that. I can understand our perspective on it. We haven't really, got the structure to keep sacking managers, and we've obviously said before that we're not really known for sacking a football club, but we've taken into account we've sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Moyes got sacked after 10 months. He enjoyed 10 months at the football club, did David Moyes. And, we knew he was never the right man for Man United at that time anyway, and that was the mistake, and only mistake Ferguson made, was recommending David Moyes in. He's actually enjoyed the shortest tenure with the football club since the Ferguson era. Van Gaal, he came in, that wasn't we didn't mistakenly appoint him, because we thought at the time we got him in, he'd have done well, reflecting on what he did with Munich and that. But it didn't work out under Van Gaal, because his philosophy wasn't right for the club. It was turgid football. We did win the FA Cup under Louis Van Gaal era, though. Then Mourinho came in, he enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure at the club. He had the longest tenure with the club, since the Ferguson era. I did give the variety of reasons why it didn't work out under him. But Mourinho did win the Europa League and League Cup in his first season and that. But, like I said, I still think, like Ed Woodward, vast majority of our players, the board, they're still willing to keep faith in Solskjaer. So their perceptions are totally comparison to mine and a lot of Manchester United fans and that. But more signings definitely needed at the football club. Solskjaer still wants to get, obviously, young players in, like he did do last summer. I've already given you an update, haven't I, I've already given you an update today, haven't I, earlier on today, that is, regarding the transfer news and that. Reportedly, Solskjaer's identified his 2 priority targets for that midfield, and that's Jack Grealish and James Maddison. There's been recent reports now talking about Raul Jimenez from Wolves. We're seeing him as an alternative to Erling Haaland, because obviously, the club missed out on Erling Haaland. He joined Borussia Dortmund, and that, and so there's actually now a lot of players on our agenda and that. But we'll have to see who we can get in. It isn't assured that we'll make many signings in this January transfer window. But yeah, very, very disappointed with the result this evening. City coming up. We've got to see a total comparison performance against City to what we've seen, this evening against Wolves and what we saw against Arsenal most recently. So the performances have got to improve. We've got to start getting results. And we need to see changes at the football club now immediately, and it's just not good enough. It's not good enough for the size and the potential of this club. It's just not good enough. And like I said, Solskjaer's win ratio is worse than Mourinho's, Louis van Gaal's. It's even worse than David Moyes'. And that's, indicating how bad we are now. And we could finish lower than 6 this season if we continue. I think 6 is actually, the lowest we've finished, because we actually finished 6th last season. But like I've just said to you earlier on the video, we've got to get rid of more players. You know, Shaw maybe needs to go now. Pereira definitely, I think, needs to go. But yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for your time. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe, and I will be back on with more videos tomorrow. As again, thanks for watching.